In this video, I'll be showing you how to walk through a transfer and assigning a case through the CPIMS Plus. I'll be using the most common use case, which is when a case transfer is being done by a manager of one agency to a manager of another agency. Transfers can happen, for example, because an agency ceases activities in a certain location. The transfer of a case means that the full responsibility for coordination of the case plan, follow-up, and monitoring of the child is being handed over to another agency or department. Please note that this is different from a referral, where the responsibility of the overall case management remains with the original caseworker, and information is provided on a need-to-know basis in relation to a specific service that's going to be provided to the family and their child. The purpose of a case transfer is to give the responsibility of management of a case to another case management agency. When a case transfer is decided, this is usually discussed first with the receiving agency, and then only transferred through the CPIMS Plus. The manager will first verify, together with the caseworker responsible for the case, if the case file is complete, and consent has to be provided by the child or the caregiver for the transfer to occur. I am now logged in as a manager of Save the Children who is going to do a transfer to IRC. The manager can do a transfer by going directly into the case file and selecting the Actions icon in the top right-hand corner of the screen. They can then select Transfer Case. A box will appear which will allow you to select options for your transfer. Consent of the individual is required for the transfer. If you are transferring to somebody who is not using the CPIMS Plus, then you will select that first box which says, "Are you transferring to a remote system?" I'm not going to walk through this now, but I will in a subsequent video. In this case, we are going to do a transfer to someone who's using the CPIMS Plus. In order to do that, I will first select the agency that they work for, which in this case is International Rescue Committee. You can also select the location that that individual works in, or if you already know their username, you can select the recipient in this drop-down. As mentioned, coordination should happen outside of the system, but here you can enter in any notes on the transfer of that case. Once you select Transfer, this will now send a notification to the receiving manager. You'll also see a prompt at the bottom of the screen saying that the case has been successfully transferred. The transfer can be tracked under the Record Information drop-down under the Transfers and Assignments form. Here, you'll be able to expand this selection and see who had assigned the case, who is the recipient, if consent was overridden, any notes, as well as consent for the transfer. You can revoke any transfers by selecting the Actions button here and selecting Revoke. This will then maintain the ownership of the case record to be the caseworker that is sending the record. I am now going to log in as the case manager who is receiving the transfer. As you log in as the manager of IRC, you will see on the dashboard that a case was transferred to you under the Shared with Me, and you can see I have one transfer waiting acceptance, and this will take me directly to the transfer that I need to refer to. I'm going to select the case here, and then go directly into the Transfers and Assignments form by expanding the record information and selecting Transfers and Assignment. Here, I can expand this section and see the same details that I saw from the person who was sending the transfer. The only difference now is I can click on the Actions button here and accept or reject. If you click the Accept the Case, the status will change to Accepted and you will become the case owner. The record information is then updated with this change. If you select Reject, it brings up a dialog box which prompts you to give a reason as to why you are rejecting this transfer. A reason, for example, could be that the case file is incomplete. In this example, I am going to reject this case and say the case file is incomplete. You can see now the status has changed from pending to rejected. I am now going to log back into the Save the Children manager role that I was showing you earlier. I am now logged in as a Save the Children manager, and I can see the rejected transfer from the case manager from IRC. It also includes the reason for rejection. Please note that this communication should not pass entirely by the CPIMS Plus, but by other means of coordination and communication. It is, however, very good to keep a trace of this in the CPIMS Plus for follow-up and accountability. I have updated the case record and now the case file is complete. I am now going to accept this transfer, so I can see that this transfer was re-requested, and now again I can either accept or reject this transfer. In this case, I'm going to select Accept. The system will now prompt you to tell you that you are now going to be the record owner of this child's record if you hit Accept. Once accepted, we are now going to walk you through how you assign this case to a caseworker.